Ibrahim Traoré strikes back, government forces reclaim 72% of national territory. Burkina Faso. For years, this small, landlocked country in the heart of West Africa was written off by the world. Militants advanced. Villages burned. Families fled in the night, their homes reduced to ashes. Entire provinces were lost, and international headlines declared the nation doomed. But today something extraordinary is happening. Under the fearless leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, government forces are striking back. Officials now say they have reclaimed 72.7% of the national territory, a staggering reversal for a country once on the brink of collapse. This is not just about land. It's about the soul of a nation. It's about a young soldier who dared to defy France, the West, and even the odds of survival. It's about a people who said, enough is enough. And it's about Africa's battle to reclaim not only its soil but its dignity. To understand why this matters, we need to go back. Only a few years ago, Burkina Faso was drowning. Over half the country's territory was terrorized by extremist groups. Al-Qaeda's affiliates. The so-called Islamic State. They attacked villages, blocked roads, cut off entire towns. By 2022, nearly 2 million people were displaced. International NGOs warned of famine. The world shrugged and said Burkina Faso was finished. 2 million displaced, Ankara, 2022. But then, came a name that would change everything. Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Just 34 years old when he took power in a bold coup. To some, he was reckless. To others, he was the last hope. And his message was clear: Burkina Faso will rise again, not by begging, not by surrendering, but by fighting, and by believing. What followed was unlike anything the Sahel had seen before. Traoré launched a people's war. He mobilized not just soldiers but citizens. Tens of thousands of farmers, shopkeepers, and students were trained and armed as volunteers. They became known as the Volontaires pour la défense de la patrie, ordinary men and women who transformed into defenders of their villages. Side by side with the army, they pushed forward. Village by village. Province by province. Slowly, the map began to change. VDP, People's Defense Volunteers. And now, in 2025, Traoré's government claims a stunning result: 72% of national territory back under state control. Over 700,000 displaced people have returned home. More than 1,500 schools have reopened. Farmers are back in their fields. The desert wind that once carried the smell of gunpowder now carries the sound of children laughing in classrooms again. 700,000 people returned, 1,500 schools reopened. But not everyone believes this story. Analysts in Washington and Paris argue that the true number is far lower, perhaps only 30% of the land is really under control. They say the government inflates its victories to maintain morale. They say insurgents are still lurking in the forests, regrouping, ready to strike again. 30%? Independent analysts versus official reports, 72%. So who is telling the truth? The answer depends on where you stand. For Western think tanks, portraying Burkina Faso as unstable justifies intervention, military bases, and outside control. But for Burkinabe citizens who've returned to their homes, who've seen their schools reopen, who no longer live in fear of daily attacks, numbers don't matter. Reality does. And this is why the West is nervous. Because every kilometer Traoré reclaims is not just land, it is freedom from French domination. Remember, Traoré expelled French troops. He shut down French media outlets. He joined hands with Mali and Niger to form the Alliance of Sahel States, a military and political bloc that rejects neocolonial dictates. Together, they have declared, Africa will not kneel. AES, Alliance of Sahel States, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. And this terrifies Paris. It worries Washington. Because if a landlocked nation, one of the poorest in the world, can stand up and reclaim its destiny, then what excuse do richer African nations have? This is why the story of 72% is bigger than Burkina Faso. It is the spark of a fire that could sweep across Africa. But beyond geopolitics, beyond numbers, lies the human story. Picture a mother, displaced for 3 years, who finally returns home with her children. Picture a teacher reopening a school that was abandoned since 2020. Picture a farmer sowing seeds in soil once patrolled by gunmen. This is the quiet revolution, the rebirth of daily life. Of course, challenges remain. Critics accuse Traoré's government of harsh tactics, mass arrests, even abuses in the fight against insurgents. And the question hangs in the air, can these gains last? Can 72% hold when extremist groups still lurk in the shadows? The war is not over. The cost is heavy. The future uncertain. But what cannot be denied is this: Burkina Faso refused to collapse. And a young leader barely older than the average African youth ignited a movement that has shaken the world. Whether the figure is 72%, 50%, or 30%, one truth is louder than all the numbers: belief has returned. Hope has returned. And in liberation wars, belief is often more powerful than bullets. So let the West argue over statistics. Let the analysts debate. In the streets of Ouagadougou, in the villages of the Sahel, the message is already clear. Burkina Faso has risen. Ibrahim Traoré has struck back. And Africa once again remembers the words of Thomas Sankara: he who feeds you, controls you. But he who fights for his land controls his destiny. Ibrahim Traoré strikes back, 72% reclaimed, the struggle continues. Please like and subscribe to keep this channel going.